but I want people to feel like they're making money and that their hard work is paying off. So my team structure is that they start off with what the company would pay them, if they were on their own with the company. So they get the same split they would get if they were on their own. So there's no reason to be on their own. They're getting more leads from me, they're getting more experience, they're getting more business.
So today we're going to be talking about how to build your real estate team. And I've been fortunate enough to run into Kelly Robinson. She has a good sized team. She's in New York. Kelly, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Oh, thank you very much. So you've got 8 employees, 6 agents working under you. To me, that sounds like a lot of like herding cats. And so I'm guessing you're a very patient woman. But I want to kind of dive into, what got you to start building a team, and how the process you used. And that's what I want to go through. But I think first, tell us a little bit about what you're doing in New York City.
So I am doing residential real estate. I have been since 2005, mainly in Manhattan, a little bit in Brooklyn. I'm currently expanding to Miami as well.
Oh,
I'm in the sports and entertainment division of Compass, which is a select group of people who have experience working with clients in the sports and entertainment industries because it's a little bit of a different animal. And
is that
I
mostly
start
athletes that you're dealing with then?
well, for me, it
And
started out
celebrities, I
being
guess.
mostly entertainment people, whether it's
Okay.
celebrities, producers, behind the scene, a lot of behind the scenes people, um, but also athletes. And I actually am just finishing building up a curriculum because I'm going to be educating, new NBA, NFL, and NIL players on building passive income and wealth through real estate investment because the problem is these people
Yeah.
come into so much money so young and so quickly,
Yeah.
and they could get injured, or they could be a one-hit wonder or what have you, and then their career is over. In fact, most of the sports agents that I deal with are ex-athletes who were pros but got injured and their career was ended. So
Yeah.
we're trying to give them another way to build wealth. And I also, when I'm looking with them for a primary home, a lot of times they want to spend a ton of money on a home, and sometimes I try to kind of talk them down a little bit because
Yeah.
I want them to make a wise investment and still have liquidity.
Yeah. They're not quite ready for MTV Cribs yet, right? You know what? Some
Maybe
of our
not.
viewers may not be able to relate to that. It was cool in its day, right?
I watched it. I
So did
watched it.
I. So did I. We can all dream. But yeah, I
Yep.
think it's good, especially those youngsters that are getting the no money. They've just focused on their sport. So it's great that you do that. Now, how many years have you been in the business?
18.
18 years. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since
You started
2005.
young. Let's walk us through the process. So what'd you do first? Were you right out of high school, real estate agent? This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
No, I was an actress my whole life. And
Okay.
I went to a conservatory program for college, and I was working with a very high profile manager afterwards. And he just wasn't nurturing my career. And I was just being put up for lead parts in movies and soaps, which I didn't want to do after coming from acting at the Globe in London. And so he and I had a falling out when I didn't take a specific job that he wanted me to take and I didn't want.
Okay.
And so I decided to take a year off from acting. I signed a post-dated contract with a new manager that I was going to start with a year out. And I decided to kind of try some new things, go back, continue in my education at NYU. And I fell into real estate because I didn't want to bartend or work at night. And a friend of mine said, "Why don't you try real estate?" And so I fell into it and I just never went back. It wasn't my plan. But now looking back at childhood, it was always something that I was interested in. I was dragging my family to open houses when I was a kid and circling houses in the paper and redesigning my bedroom all the time. So,
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess it
and
comes with it.
obviously, you're not afraid to work. And if you've made it to the level you're at, because you guys are ranked, you and your team are about what, the top 1% in Compass?
Yeah, about that.
Okay.
In actually of all residential real estate professionals nationwide.
Okay. Across the board, not just in
Yeah,
Compass. Okay.
correct.
All right. Very good. Well, congratulations, first of
Thank
all.
you.
And I want to dive into the team building. So, At what point did you decide, okay, I want to start building a team? What was your thought process? Why? And then when did you start doing it?
So there are two things, and I'll try to be concise. When I first started real estate in 2005, I started on my own and I was running around doing rentals, which is really what most brand new agents do in New York City because it's
Sure.
very hard to break into sales. And I realized that that was just not going to make me a lot of money. So I needed to get into sales. So I started working on a team for a top agent. And then I did that for 4 years. And then for another year and a half, I worked on a different team. And then I went off on my own and I wasn't going to start a team. It wasn't my goal. I had been on two teams where I didn't see people treated fairly. I didn't see things done necessarily ethically.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I will never give up those years because I learned so much and I learned so much so fast.
Yeah.
But in about 2011, I just got to the point where I had too much business to handle on my own and I needed to bring in somebody to help me. So I did, and it just started from there and then it grew.
Okay. And what level were you when you decided, okay, I want to build this team? Did you have a number like I need to make $200,000 in commissions and then I'll hire somebody? Or were you just like, when I get to this level of business, how did you got a cute little guy over
No.
your shoulder there.
Oh yeah, my dogs are that's why I have the headphones on because they
They'll
make
bark.
noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um
Oh,
so that's Seamus.
okay.
So I didn't plan on having a team. I got to
Okay.
the point where I had so much business and so many listings that I couldn't be everywhere at once. And so I had to get help. And it wasn't about an amount of money. It was about I can't do all of this myself. And I need to find somebody I can trust to help show. And then eventually I hired an assistant, which was scary, but it was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah. Frees you up.
Frees you up and you make more money. Everybody's afraid to spend money on an assistant because they're
Yeah.
giving up a piece of the pie, but you're really growing your pie.
Well, you're buying your freedom. You've got to invest to grow. You've got to put the money out
Absolutely.
there. What kind of what responsibility did you give that assistant? How were you free reign, do whatever you want, or did you start off going, okay, these are exactly what you need to do every day?
So I started off having her come to showings with me and I showed
Okay.
her how I showed and then coming to, to go out with buyers with me. And then as soon as I felt comfortable that she was kind of on the same page, I allowed her to do showings. And it started off just showings and open
Okay.
houses. And then, I let her do some board packages with me, which is something that's unique to New York City with
Okay.
cooperatives and condos now. And those are very, very important because 70 something percent of the properties for sale in New York are cooperatives and they can turn you down and not give you a reason. So your board package, the financials, the reference letters, everything has to be perfect or you
Okay.
could lose the buyer could lose the deal or the seller could lose the deal. So I had her do a bunch of those with me until I felt comfortable with her doing them for me. And that really freed me up a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you just bought yourself several hours a day because the showings and putting that stuff together can take half a day, that alone.
Oh, I mean, some of these board packages are 500 plus pages. I had somebody buying a property that had, they make you give tax returns. They had 11 pass-through companies. I had to give the tax returns alone weighed 30 pounds this is why I donate to American Forests every year.
Yeah. I can see why. So after your assistant, what team member did you hire next?
I hired a junior agent.
Okay. All right.
Somebody that I had worked with in the past, actually, when I was on a team, who I knew was just really analytical, very, very dedicated, ethical, and that's how it started, and then
Somebody you
it
can
just
trust.
grew from there. Yes,
Yeah.
that which is the most important thing to me.
Now in California, and I dabbled in residential real estate, and you're obviously a very patient woman because I was like, oof, not for me. I'm going to stick with commercial and it's do what I know. Um, if you hire a junior in residential and in commercial in LA, a lot of times you have to give them a base salary plus commission. What's it like in New York? Is it very similar to that, or you do just strictly commission?
So for my junior agents, they strictly get commission. My
Okay.
director of operations gets a salary or a
Okay.
base pay plus a percentage of every deal.
Okay. Yeah. Plus you got enough deal flow with being in the business as long as you are. It's really easy for them. I'm sure you just give the leads over and they do very, very well. It's what do you look for when you're hiring? What do you look for in the person that you want to hire?
Loyalty and ethics. I don't necessarily look for, I do want somebody who's had experience. It makes life a lot easier for
Yep.
everybody and they can bring in their own business as well, which is great. But loyalty and ethics, I will take any day over somebody who's a pushy salesperson or somebody who's just a baller. I cannot stand unethical behavior. I cannot stand pushy salespeople. I find that, especially now, buyers are so savvy, sellers are so savvy, they can see right through that. It makes them
Yep.
uncomfortable. And ethics and loyalty are the most important thing to me because when somebody leaves or they disrupt the team, or they poison everybody else on the team, that takes a toll on your whole business. And
Mhm.
so I would rather have people who are loyal, and I think that they're interesting ways of finding that out up front.
Yeah,
You can
I'm sure.
teach them how to sell. I sell and negotiate from a place of empathy, especially because this is residential real estate. So you're dealing with emotions all the time and you
Mhm.
have to be empathetic. But so it's a little different than, your typical negotiation or any other business, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I want people who have empathy, who are loyal, and who are ethical.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, when for our commercial brokerage company, we uh we really focus on work ethic because, commercial real estate can be trained,
Yeah.
but I can't train that work ethic. And it
Yeah.
has to be a team mentality. I don't care if you're an independent contractor, you come in and work on, you don't have to use anybody in the team, but you know, I'm really focused on culture and I'm in the office every day. So I want to be around people. I want to be around. And fortunately, I'm in the position where I can hire those people. We have had a great company because of it, and it's worked well for us. So I'm right on track with you.
Yeah.
How do you find this top talent? Are you constantly out there looking for people, or are you not looking for people? And then when you find somebody, you say, "Okay, you know what? You should be part of my team."
Yeah, it's funny. It seems that whenever I'm looking for somebody, there's nobody available. And then when I've just accepted that nobody's available that has the qualities that I'm looking for, people come to me and say I would love to be on your team, or can I have an interview with you? And that's what's happened in the past couple of situations where I've hired people, except for one whose resume was sent to me. And the second I met her, I just knew she was
Yeah,
wonderful. Yeah.
yeah. I'm finding for us too in the commercial side of it, the people that get referred in are usually some of the best. Now we've got people off of Indeed and Monster and a few others, but I find that a lot of those resumes come in. I don't, maybe they don't do a little research ahead of time and they're not understanding because commercials completely. You're 8:30 to 5:30 your first 18 to
Yeah.
24 months in commercial real estate. I'm sure you were too to get started. And because I find that all the top producers, we see these TV shows that everybody's working, on their cell phone and they're out having lunch all the time and oh, life is beautiful.
Mhm.
That's not the case for the top producers.
No, it's not reality.
It's good TV.
That's that's scripted reality.
Yeah. And some of them have done, I mean, Sirhan, what he's done, pretty amazing. You got to give him credit for that. So, I mean, I don't know the man, but I just saw how he's built this company. Which, by the
Yeah.
way, for those of you watching, if you guys are going to have questions for Kelly, make sure you put it in the comments down below, and she'll get back to them, or I'll make sure she sees them as well. So, all right, what was my next question? Oh, team structure. Um, how did you structure it? What was your thought process on your structure? And what would you advise somebody that's wanting to think about building a team?
So, like I said, loyalty is really important to me, and I
Mhm.
want longevity, and I want my team members to feel like they have autonomy. So, I might give away a little bit more of the piece of the pie than most people do, most team leaders do. but I want people to feel like they're making money and that their hard work is paying off. So my team structure is that they start off with what the company would pay them, if they were on their own with the company. So they get the same split they would get if they were on their own. So there's no reason to be on their own. They're getting more leads from me, they're getting more experience, they're getting more business. It just makes sense. And then as they bring in the gross commission income that the company requires to scale up, then I will scale them up to a certain point because they use my marketing budget and whatnot. Now, if they bring in the same gross commission income as I do or more for 2 consecutive years, they can become my partner and we will rebrand. And I give everybody that option because I want people to feel like there's somewhere to go. Because I don't care if it's not about me. I want everybody to be happy and make money. So if you're doing a really good job and we're jiving together, like, let's become partners. And I feel like that makes people feel like they're not stuck. They don't have to fly the nest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. My next question is going to be, how do you maximize their efforts? And I think you just answered that, is because, if they know that there's a future, if they know that they can become Kelly's partner, and do a complete rebrand,
Yeah.
I think that's an amazing opportunity for somebody, because you've built this, you've got your following, you're going to do your deals. If somebody can come along and follow that, that's something that it's hard to find out there. So it's amazing that you do that.
Thanks. I just, I try to be fair and give people something to look forward to and motivate them.
Absolutely. And they'll work harder. If there's a future there, they'll work harder. They'll be
Yeah.
more positive. They know that you've got their back. Is you, as somebody that is the owner of the company, has their back and their support. That there's a lot to be said for that. Now, your structure, so you have 6 agents under you, right? And then 2 support staff, correct?
I have 6 agents under me. I'm the seventh.
Yep.
I'm the broker. And then I have a director of operations and I
Okay.
have right now 5 interns.
When do you
Let me
sleep?
tell you, I
That's a lot.
you know what? I sleep like a lot of times I just pass out like face down.
Yeah,
It
drool.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Snore,
Yeah.
drool, all the good stuff. Um, I learned so much from my interns. I am so excited every time I bring on an intern
Yeah.
because they teach me so much, and I love them. They're young, they're exciting,
The energy.
they're the energy's there.
Yeah.
They're the ones that I've been lucky enough to have on my team. They're driven. They're you know, and they just they know so much. They're especially, with this fast-paced world that we're in right now, they're just so savvy and I love it.
Yeah, you can learn from them. That's the thing, is a leader that is willing to listen to I don't want to say the lowest man on the pole, but the newest person, I guess. There's a lot of value in that. The fact that, because they're going to teach you something. I hadn't done postcard mailers in a lot of years because they just didn't work before. So one
Yeah.
of our agents said, you know what? I'm having success with them. And I'm like, okay, the company will try and do it again. So we're trying that. You've got to keep an open mind and try different things. And, I even got on TikTok, and, lo and behold, we're getting some lead generation from that. Not much, because we
Yeah.
don't do it right. We're really kind of figuring that path out.
Yeah.
And we're trying to hire an assistant right now to really help us with that. But, it's keeping that open mind is very powerful. And I can see when you talk about your employees, you start talking faster, you get higher energy. So I can see that you really do have a passion for those people,
They are
which really leads
wonderful.
me to my next question. When it comes time to part ways with somebody, are you good at doing that, or do you kind of let them kind of skate a little longer than you should? And what is your method to removing somebody from the team?
I think in the past, because I'm an empath by
Mhm.
nature, I think that I've allowed people to stay, or I've given people second chances longer than I
Mhm.
should have. But I've gotten to the point where I realize that that's toxic to the entire team.
Yeah.
And so now, I mean, if somebody did something unethical, that was it. They were out. Um, for the most part, I have really good relationships with people that have been on my team formerly. There's one or two that I had to let go that were not happy about that because they did something that was, that was not ethical. And management at my firm asked me, do you think we should allow them to still work at the company? And I said, well, this is what happened. You make the decision. And in both cases, they said, I'm sorry, you can't work at this company anymore.
Yeah.
So they, of course, hated me because of that. Um, but I wasn't the one that did something unethical, and I won't tolerate that on my team ever.
Yeah. It's sometimes it's the way I look at it, I can fire and we're still friends with some of the people I fired. Actually, I've got
Yeah, me
one
too.
person I fired twice. I gave him a second chance and brought back, oh, okay, I
Yeah.
forgot. And so, yeah. But she still refers, she went to do residential real estate. She refers deals over here because
Right.
she understands. I said, this isn't what you want to do. This is when you're making this kind of mistakes and you're putting this little effort into it, you want to do something else. What is that? Where's your passion? Go do that because this
Yeah.
isn't working for you. And I almost find that every time I have to fire somebody, that's the case.
Yeah.
So, and it
That's
can be,
good.
yeah, it's tough though. These
It
people,
is.
you're working with them on a daily basis. They really become your friends. And there's that fine line. And I think this is what somebody has to understand I have a pretty good sized team as well. You get to be friends because you're working with them every day. You see them as much as you see anybody else. And, you've got to remember as somebody that's in charge, that relationship, you got to really think about that. You are the person in charge. It's your responsibility. You don't want to become best friends,
No,
because it can
you
be,
can't. You can't. I mean, we're friends. We do things for each other and we
yeah.
support each other, but we do have that balance because it's important. And I was on two teams before I started my own where the team leaders were a little bit too um intimately involved,
Mm,
like wanted to be like a mother to me, one wanted to be like my best girlfriend, and
right.
it just didn't work, like you
Yeah.
have to have a little bit, you have to have a boundary there.
Yeah.
And you can take care of people and whatnot, but you still have to have that boundary
Right.
because when I find that people, when you don't have boundaries, it doesn't matter how good of a person they are, they'll take advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. You give an inch, it's hard. And
Yeah.
you don't want to do it, but sometimes you have to come
Oh,
down hard on them. And, especially when you get a team, you got to be, another thing you got to be careful for is looking like you have a favorite.
right.
That's something that I see in a lot of teams is everybody thinks, oh, he's her favorite or she's his favorite. And that may not be the case. That person might be working harder than everybody else. And so they're having a little bit more success. But
Yeah.
that actually happened to us once. And we had one agent that was doing very well. And we had another agent came in and goes, listen, you guys are giving him all the best. We haven't given him any business. He's doing this all on his own. And it's amazing how you got to think about the other person. And so we're very careful and we make mistakes every
Yeah.
day, I think. But
I do too. I
yeah,
mean, that's how you become more successful, right? You fail
yeah,
at one thing and then you learn from it and you do it the right way the next time.
exactly. And we've made a lot of them. So we're pretty damn smart, we think. Um, but we'll prove that wrong. All right. So I know we're getting a little bit long, Kelly, but I want to do one last thing. So now you've got two administrative staff handling that many people. How many more agents can you hire before you have to hire another staff person?
So I have actually I do have a VA that works on certain things, and
Okay.
then one of my interns who helps my director of operations out. And I asked her recently, I said, "Do you need me to hire another virtual assistant or somebody to take some of the busy work off of your plate?" And she said, "No, I think the interns can handle it." And these are very smart, trustworthy people who have grown up in real estate families who have interned with other teams for multiple summers, and they understand the business, and their goal in life is to become a real part of a real estate team. One of them actually just got licensed today.
Okay.
So you know if we can trust them, then they can help her to, and they're usually willing to do anything. And the nice thing is that while I do give people a bonus, interns a bonus, and I do, pay for their transportation in and out of the city and their food while they're here and whatnot, um, they're doing it for college credit many times. So you're not
Okay.
paying them,
Yeah, you're
which
not
I
paying
love.
them, but you're being generous by doing. I mean, I can imagine. I don't know what it costs to go in and out of the city, but I can't imagine it's cheap.
Well, it depends. I mean, I
Yeah, a
have
little
had
bit.
to fly people here, but for the most part, it's just the train, it's not a
Right.
big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. Well, um, all right. In a wrap up, let me tell you what's next for Kelly Robinson team.
So expanding to Miami.
Okay.
It wasn't something I had planned on. I'm a big believer in sticking to your niche. However, I spend about half the time down in Miami. I have a
Oh,
lot
good.
of clients down there. I have a lot
Okay.
of clients who are back and forth from New York and Miami, and I have a big network down there, and everybody's like, Kelly, get your license, get your license, get your license. So I kind of got pushed into it, and I'm going to just focus on Miami. I'm not going to go South Florida,
Right.
all of South Florida. But my director of operations actually offered to get her license too. She's honestly amazing. It was very difficult to find a great assistant or director of operations for many years, and this girl's a magician. She gets Chanel on her birthday. Whatever she wants, she gets. I have to keep her. So, but
Yeah.
she offered to do that. So I'm really grateful. And that's what's next for us.
Okay. Well, just write this date down, Kelly. It's August 8th.
Okay.
If you're giving Chanel for doing that, I like a little Versace, little Gucci. No, maybe not. That's not my
August
style,
8th.
but
You're a Leo. You're a Leo.
I'm a Leo. That's the birthday. Yeah.
Okay.
So
August 8th. I got it. I
you
wrote it
got it.
down.
Okay, good. I'll expect a big package at that time. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me.
I think that somebody that's thinking about building a team can really learn a lot from you from this interview. And again, I'll ask. Hopefully, they'll put comments down below. So, all right, Kelly Minds Her Manners. It's a podcast. Where can they find it?
Uh, Anywhere you can listen to podcasts, and you can also watch it on YouTube. It's Kelly Minds Her Manners, manners with an O.
Yeah, that's very cute. Manners, love it. I was watching it this weekend. Great job on that. So,
Thank you.
so guys, make sure you check it out. I'm going to put it down below so they can go find you, and then I'm going to put your contact information. So if they have any leads in New York City or Miami, they can reach out. And for those of you watching, thank you for watching today, and give us a like if you could. And if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe.